So we're good. We're good to go. So there's all kinds of great food here. But,
Well, it's very lovely.
yeah, but while we're recording, we probably
So
don't.
you
Shouldn't
have
they?
Don't wanna have to-
apple chips.
I think you should really, really munch out when we're done.
I know.
Okay, so Facebook has accepted the stream.
Great.
YouTube has accepted it.
Wonderful.
Twitch has. Okay, now I've got to put it on the Peace Center website. So
Thank
that
you.
All
Great.
the
So is
fans
it streaming live now
Yes.
Yes,
on the
already.
Peace Center?
Well,
In a
I'm
second,
I'm
when
about
he
to
puts
put
it
it
on,
on the
it will
Peace
be.
Center website.
I'm just going to text my husband because he was like he wanted to watch.
Yeah, he can watch it. Yep.
And if you wish, I can text you the link.
Oh, can
That
you
would
text
be
me
great.
the link and I'll just forward that right to him?
Okay, after I do
Yep.
the Peace Center, I'll do the texting of the
Sure.
link.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
This part of the show is sometimes called sharing up.
Uh-huh.
Like people will say, text me the link. I'll tell everybody who I'm connected with to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, at the end of the night, it'll tell us how many people watched.
Right. Well, that idea of sending it to
Is there
everybody
any
you're
way for-
connected to is almost like, huh? An impossibility to me.
Why, you got
Is
so
there any
many?
way for the league to put it out on social media now while we're taping it live?
No, because
Well,
I'm
and
sitting right
besides
here.
the fact-
media.
and
I have
You don't have
social
it on your
media.
cell phone?
But beside the fact, I'd say, it's not only are you able to share it afterwards, and also it's permanently housed on the Western New York Peace Center YouTube channel. So that's the other thing which you will see in that little
Right.
email, that it's, so anytime you want to send people that link, it'll be there.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's how I'll do it.
Yeah. So,
So Michael Gaynor was here yesterday, and he brought
I
his
know.
10-year-old daughter,
uh-huh.
and he just gave that speech. You did? And the 10-year-old said, people are going to be able to see me from here
Yeah.
until forever?
Yeah. He said to me he wants to be on our show, and I just said yes, and then we have to invite all the other candidates as well. So that is, I said I won't say no, but I won't say yes.
Oh, he would
because
love
right
that.
now, well, we're here now, and we're doing this now, so that's what we're doing. So I'm not going to try to figure out more things right now. Every day is a busy day, that's for sure. And there is so much going on. Oh, my Lord. Oh, and did Samari get in touch with you about doing a show yet?
Nope. She did not. Does that
She-
surprise
well,
you?
can you hold on to that Saturday? She's
Saturdays
thinking
are
of
booked already.
both of them? The coming
That's my cell
Saturday?
right there.
The coming Saturday or the next Saturday?
Somebody has a weekly Saturday show.
Well, there's one of them where it didn't show that there was anybody booked.
Oh, you checked the schedule.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, well, let me know. If you come across
Yes, we did. That's what it's there for, isn't it?
if you come across one, let me know. Maybe it got taken off.
Yeah, I mean, I looked and I saw a free Saturday somewhere on there.
Oh.
Anyway, okay, well, we're ready to go when you're ready to go.
I just got the link. I'm putting it on
Wonderful.
the Peace Center site now.
Thank you.
It is on the Peace Center.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And now I'm going to text it to Samantha.
And I'll forward that to you.
Works for me. Thank you. You guys are old hands at this. My first time.
Well, you'll be. It's just
I'm
comfortable.
not worried about it.
Yeah, right. No, it's just a conversation, right? On stuff that we are interested in, working on, all of that. So it makes it easy. You don't have to figure everything out.
Oh, good
Tell me
heavens,
if you
no.
got it,
I hope not.
Samantha.
No.
Hopefully any second.
Oh, no, I put the phone number in wrong.
Okay. Well, that explains a lot.
I'll try it again.
602-5245.
Well, apparently I have dyslexia and I put 176.
That's okay. I typed in Shanley and it went to Stanley, and I didn't realize it till I was sitting in front of a decrepit building saying, "This can't be it. What the heck am I doing over here?"
Did that? A lot of people have
And
done
I
that.
said, "This is why you always leave early,
I
Suzanne."
sent you to a murder house.
Pretty much.
Well, I want to say autocorrect is not our friend
Yeah,
No, it's
I
not. It
didn't.
really is not. Oh, it gets me all the time.
all the time.
All
Yep.
the time.
So I was like, okay, look again. Oh, no, it says Stanley. Duh. Okay, let's put in Shanley.
And it can be embarrassing. It can think up the wrong word,
And has.
and it totally changes the meaning.
Yep.
Okay, that should do it.
Yep.
Okay. And when you're all shared up, let me know.
One more second.
And then I will proceed to start the show. Vicki, do you like the way the screen is arranged?
Yep.
Okay.
Everything looks great.
Hmm.
Yeah, it'll be
Good topic, by the way.
Yes, important.
I know
Very.
people who are right-wing Trump supporters, and they tell me all these little tangential issues, and I always write back and I say, let's talk about the big issues, like democracy is eroding and fascism is creeping in.
Right.
And they have trouble seeing the big picture. So, for example, I wrote to one of these Trump
All right, I'm all
supporters.
set.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
All
there's
right.
a lot.
When it says
there's a
on
lot
the
of work.
air, you're on the air, okay?
Very good. Yep. Thanks.
All right.
Oh, that's
Don't,
good.
actually, you can press the timer button, Vicki.
The
Oh,
timer
it
button.
isn't on there,
Your-
is there?
your
Never
phone,
mind. I'll do
your
it from
phone.
here.
Oh,
It's
here.
silence.
Oh,
They'll just put it
yeah,
there,
it's
though.
still, yeah. It's just something about the phones
All right, here
being
we
on
go.
this table. We've had it happen before when they start. Yeah, anywhere. It doesn't matter, but yeah.
You're going to use the clapper like you usually do?
Sure, if you want.
I like that.
Okay, I love to use the clapper. I've been doing this forever.
Clap on.
Okay.
All right, here
well,
we
you
go.
go
That's
ahead.
what I thought.
Welcome to Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center, being recorded here at Think Twice Radio in the home of the future, also the home of our friend and producer, Richard Wicca. Thank you, Richard. And we also thank our friends at Buffalo State University, who have WBNY, that's Buffalo's original alternative radio station, 91.3 FM. Thank you, Buff State. Thank you, WBNY. And we're grateful. And when I think about gratefulness, I think about our indigenous friends and people of color generally, where in spite of all kinds of hardship and oppression, and certainly the indigenous people, the Haudenosaunee, on whose land we are right now, typing this radio show, they are filled with thankfulness despite all the horrendous treatment, despite having their land taken and, really near genocide on indigenous people. And also our friends who were enslaved and brought here against their will. Still, thankfulness is such a part of the culture. So the indigenous people start off with a Ganonyo for every event, and it thanks Mother Earth, thanks the people who are there making the event possible, thanks Mother Earth for giving us all the things we need for a good life, all the wonderful plants, nutritional and medicinal plants, all the wonderful animals of all kinds, the crawling, swimming, four-legged, flying creatures. There's so many beautiful elements in the world here, on the world here, and then in the whole sky world, the brother sun or grandmother moon, the whole sky world, and then the creator and the love that animates it all. So they say all of that, and then they say Nyahweh, and then the people say no. So Nyahweh,
You know,
Yeah.
thank you, and Ashe. So we're grateful to be here, and grateful to have this opportunity to talk with two wonderful guests on a really important topic that I think we all I would say almost everybody is very concerned about. And for those who aren't, then they might wake up and realize that we need to be very concerned about defending our democracy. So defending democracy in this day and age, very important. I love democracy now. When they say democracy now, like we need democracy now. So it's always been a work in process. We haven't perfected it by any means, and we've been losing a lot of ground. But I'm blessed to be here. I didn't introduce myself, Victory Ross or Vicky Ross. I like to say Victory because that's my teenage nickname, and it gives me an opportunity to say that the real victory, everybody wins. And that would be a good soundbite for democracy. It
Amen.
really does help people. It really is about we the people. And so I want to say we have two wonderful representatives here to help us explore that topic. So Suzanne Thomas, Suzanne is as secretary for the League of Women Voters for Buffalo, Niagara. We're grateful that you could make your time to come here today. Thank you.
well, I appreciate you asking me to be here.
Oh, well, we're so glad that you are. And then friend of the show, Sam White. Sam, I was just telling her that she was just on the last show we taped here. You know, so what your frequent flyer miles are
They're going
shotting
up.
up. Yeah.
They're going up.
Yeah, so Sam, as an attorney, as a longtime, defender of democracy, that's what I'd say. I mean, you always have been about that and about the people. And so we're so grateful. And also a board member, I have to say, you know, certainly for the League of Women Voters.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
And I have to say that I really, really appreciate that warm title of friend of the show. It truly struck me right here on the drive over as we were talking about that.
Well, you really are. You really are. And just a friend also,
Amen.
but friend of the show, too. So that's why I was able to say last night, hey, you doing something tomorrow night? Talk about off the cuff. Now, you know, talk about with last minute planning.
Yeah.
But you know, that's when the serendipity comes sometimes. So anyway, so this is a very important show, which actually we talked about doing this show
Back
months
in June.
ago. We
Back
did.
in June we were talking about
Right.
this.
So here
But
we are.
It feels like as we're going, you know, further in time, it seems like every day there's something more that makes this topic in particular that much more urgent. So I'm so
Absolutely.
glad that serendipity brought us the opportunity to gather together
Right.
in this talking circle to really talk about how we're going to defend democracy
Right.
thoughtfully,
Right.
deeply.
Right. And so a good lead in, what we like to do for the first go around is just talk about what are the values. If we think of defending democracy or just think about democracy, what are the values that you associate with that? So, Suzanne?
I think one of the first ones, thank you again for having me
Oh,
here, and I
please.
appreciate the partnership between the League of Women Voters, Buffalo, Niagara, and the Western New York Peace Center.
Oh, please.
We need to continue to collaborate,
Absolutely.
not just the two of us, but there are a great many organizations
Right.
in our Western New York area
Right. Oh, yes.
who are working on the same thing, and our strength is in our numbers. Because as you all know, democracy means it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Right.
So the more people who are involved, the better off we will all be.
Right.
But to get back to your question about values, I think one of my most fundamental values is one of integrity. I believe that
Thank
if a
you.
person has integrity, they demonstrate that through the decisions they make, through their thoughtfulness, their actions, their speech, their interactions.
Right.
And it's of the highest caliber. They, in their thoughtfulness, they do what they can to ensure they're acting with honesty for the greater good, not looking for themselves, but for others. So that's, I guess, my number one is integrity.
That is a wonderful one. I love I mean, move my heart. Yeah, integrity is so crucial.
I think you just look at two other people. If
Right.
you're acting with integrity, you take other people into account. There's a humanitarianism
Well,
involved in integrity.
I need to quote Cornel West at this point, who says, that if we only had, if everyone had moral integrity and universal solidarity, we would be where we need to be.
Our founding fathers created the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, with the understanding, with the proviso that it comes with an understanding that the people who get elected into office will have those qualities. And we have to make sure that
If
those
only.
documents guard against those who may not display those characteristics.
So well put. Thank you, Suzanne. And Sam?
So, my guiding value in terms of ways, or the value that will best defend democracy, I think, is education. Mm-hmm. Right? You remember
Right.
watching, what was it, NBC, and the star would fly over in the logo and it'd say, "The more you know," right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, I'm telling you, when you educate the population, you teach people to read, you give access to multiple viewpoints, you give access to multiple vantage points of history from all different peoples. You give access to higher education so that once you get through, the lower levels of education and free public education, right? You create an electorate that is really able to participate meaningfully.
Right.
And not just necessarily pick somebody to vote for, but actually run for an office and help to run our government,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's education is really, for me, that key to defending democracy. And I want to see our nation's educational system fully funded and fully protected.
Well, thank you
agree.
for that. Yeah, absolutely critical. And in fact, one of the things that the Western New York Peace Center has been doing is putting together various trainings of all kinds. And we've done some of that over the years, but now Power to the People is helping us to really systematize it and getting a lot of other things, including Stop the Bleed and some medical training, as well as civil, let's say, nonviolent direct action training, which we've been doing right along, and peacekeeper
Right.
training, everything. But what I want to mention is that it was just put to us, and we definitely intend to put in some civil and civics education, because it has been left off by the schools in so many cases. And so kids don't know, or people don't know, the populace, like you say, it's so important. Makes me think of, when Jesus said, well, Father, forgive them because they know not what they do. I mean, ignorance is so much happens because people don't know. And if you don't know, now you know. No, we need to help people know sort of what the mechanics are, and so that they can look at the whole picture and really understand what's going on, and not have a lot of misinformation and disinformation, which is what we're getting, or even, not educating people or miseducating people.
Or outright lies, I have to
Right.
say it.
Oh,
I guess I
yes.
get tired of people
Yes.
continually using the term misinformation, disinformation.
Well, the reason
but that just, I think it makes it okay to make that mistake when what they're doing is out and out lying
no.
in a number of times.
I think I don't hesitate to call it lying.
Okay.
The only reason I like to call it disinformation is because it's purposeful misleading of people.
Yeah.
Purposeful. So the
Disinformation,
lying, misinformation is another thing. That's because of ignorance. That's back to the ignorance factor. Somebody told me and I believed it, and then you perpetuate those wrong,
Right.
or the lies, but people purposely lying. Yes. So I have to bring in the values of truth and love, and I think, back to, that's what we're just talking about. Truth, is it a lie or is it true? And I do believe that sometimes what is true is not, there's a lot of different aspects. So it's important to get the different aspects. But there are some things that are just plain black and white. They're either true or they're not true. Although one social worker I know said, well, there's at least 2% of truth in something. Well, 2% is mighty small, you know. So if 2%, we're hanging on 2%, then let that go, because that's a lie with 2% of the truth. But anyway, so that, and then the love. I mean, it's about caring about people. And if we're doing, you know, that the government is really meant to be doing the things together that need the teamwork to get them done together. That's the whole purpose of government. Why, you know, it's, you know, building roads or other things that you can't do individually, you know, that need that collaboration. That was the whole purpose of government, to help organize things for the benefit of
Everyone.
the people.
Yeah.
We the people. So anyway, it's about caring about people. So anyway, so defending democracy and, you know, building on it and really building our democracy. So let us go round about what is democracy. So I love to talk about that, and especially to hear about from you two, who are really experts on this topic. You know, yeah, no, well, you
That
know,
face.
not to put too much.
Our radio
not to
audience
put
is
No
missing
pressure.
something.
yeah, no pressure. No, but just some thoughts about what is a democracy, what makes something a democracy or not.
Well, first of all, I think we all talk about our country as being a democracy. And technically, we're a democratic republic.
Right.
There
Thank
are
you.
two aspects
Exactly.
of that. One is the republic side of things is beholden to the people. The people still have the greatest voice, and they are the sovereigns. They're the ones that everybody should be acting for.
Right.
But in a republic, you vote for representatives who in some way will do your bidding.
Supposedly.
In a democracy, again, it's for the people. And the people run the country by use of their vote and by electing their officials to act in a way they want them to. Which to me means rather than looking at a person and saying, I like her, I like him, I don't like her, I don't like him, what do they stand for? What do they say? What will they do? The issues behind those people are much more important than whether or not I have this amazing love and affection for that individual. If they're saying and mean what they say, have that integrity, then I'm going to vote for the people that who align with my belief system.
Right.
So we have this democratic republic but both of which are for the people and by the people. And that's where I think our democracy now is breaking down. There is a faction in the world that and based on the Federalist Papers and going back years and years and years, where they felt that sovereignty should be around and that the president should have more power. And that's what we're seeing, the president attempting to take more power based on those doctrines. But we, the people, still have the bottom line. And as we know, we are gaining strength in numbers throughout the country.
On the streets.
On the streets. We're on the
Right.
streets.
Right.
I've had people say, oh, the protests don't do anything. And yet there's a protest with 100 people, and a month later there's a protest with 1,000 people, and then 2 months later there's a protest with 100,000 people. And when we get to 8.5 million, and we're getting closer and closer, that's the tipping point, and we'll start to see our democracy come back because the people will not allow it to fail. That was a
Amen
long-winded
to
way
that.
of answering
Amen to
the
that.
question.
I can only say ashe, you know, let it be so, you know, inshallah. Yeah. And Sam?
She just gave the right answer.
Right, right. Well, it's the right answer. But so anything else you want to feature about democracy?
Yeah,
Just
we should
about
keep
the-
it around.
Yeah.
It's worked pretty good. I'd like to stick with democracy if we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, but I want to take up your other point about education because, you know, we have had a democracy, but how effectively it's been a democracy.
Right.
So as you've pointed out, it's a republic, so that can be a problem. People who are supposed to do what you're bidding, that can be a problem. We think they're going to do
Well-
our bidding, but do they do our bidding? And when we look at things like gun control or the arming of Israel, or anything that I mean,
Healthcare.
healthcare, the Medicaid and Medicare, both. So many different things that the question is, are they doing what their constituents want them to? So
I was going to say, when we are talking about education, we are talking about that informed participation,
right.
Our democracy depends on our citizens' awareness of what's happening, like moment by moment, live now, as well as their willingness to be actively involved in the process. When we come into election cycles, as the League of Women Voters, we are always working on our guides. We have nonpartisan guides.
Right.
We send flyers out to all the candidates. We ask them all the same questions.
Right.
They give us their answers and we print it, and we call it "They Represent You." And
TRY, try. Right.
Yep.
TRY, they represent you.
And we have guides for Erie County and Niagara County. And, we have them available for free on our website.
Yeah.
You can get in touch with the League of Women Voters Buffalo Niagara, and we will work with you to mail them to you for distribution in your area. But we need to have that informed involvement in civic life.
Yes. So informed and involvement, both being critical. So it makes me think a lot of times I want to say, voting is, necessary but not sufficient for a democracy. So we need to have people voting, and that's another thing. It's like, so sometimes the elections haven't had the participation, and also back to what you said, informed participation, and informed by somebody that is a believable purveyor of the information, so that people, know what the candidate says they're going to do. So they can't say something over here and then say something different when they're with a different crowd who thinks something differently. Just, pandering to whoever is there. So that informed participation, it's both of those things, as you point out. And actually, I need to say, too, that the Western New York Peace Center and the League of Women Voters, not only are we allies and partners in lots of things, we have been neighbors
For years.
For years at the
Yeah.
Network of Religious Communities, which rents, by the way, I think they still might have space open for anyone who's listening, who rents only to nonprofits, a 501c3. If you're a 501c3 and you want to rent an office and have some access to common areas, you might think about the Network of Religious Communities.
And have some great neighbors.
There you
Yes,
go.
and have some really great neighbors. Yes, so you all are great neighbors. Rahma is a wonderful neighbor that's about domestic, ending domestic violence in Muslim communities, or supporting women who are dealing with it, Muslim women who are dealing with that. And Iwi Indigenous Women's Initiatives is another great partner. So, and it's not all women in our partners.
And you know what? The
but-
League of Women Voters don't want to shy away from this at all.
Right.
Even though it was started with women for the purpose of getting women the vote
Right.
a long time
Right.
ago, over 100 years ago.
Yep.
There are many, 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 many men who also support the women in their lives who are
Right.
members of the organization. And they understand the importance of making sure everyone has access to voting rights. You were talking about those earlier, so I'm going to segue back to that if I may.
Yeah, please.
Because I believe that one reason our neighbors, all of the people in our country, have kind of lost, I hope not faith, I hope they haven't lost their faith in our government, but they have lost faith in what their vote means. Many people
Right.
don't believe that their vote counts.
Right.
And I think when they say that, it's more towards the federal elections more than their local elections, but it trickles down. When you see a school board vote,
Right.
and there are 400 people who voted in a community of 10,000,
Wow.
we're not doing our job.
Right.
And we, the people, are not doing our job to maintain our democracy. So it goes right from the school board to the city
Right, common council.
common council
Right.
to our state assembly,
Right.
and,
Right.
and state legislator, and then into the federal levels of congressmen and senators, and of course the president and vice president. So we have to start looking at ways that we can help them recognize that one vote does count. And I know the league is supporting two initiatives. One is, and I'm saying this, I'm bringing this one up because everybody I've ever talked to about it said, I never heard of that. What is that? And it's called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Great big words. And what it is because in the Constitution, our U.S. Constitution says that states are the ones who decide what their state will do for elections, how people will vote,
Right.
how the election will run, how the representatives will work. Each state in our country is now looking at this national popular vote in interstate compact and making decisions. We need 270 electoral votes to win you need that many votes to win the presidency.
Right.
There are a number of states that have decided to sign on to this compact, and they have agreed that
Right.
when they have enough states agreeing so that they have the 270 votes, whoever wins, this is just presidential election,
Right.
whoever wins the popular vote,
Right.
they will cast their electoral votes for that person. So your vote is important then, because it's not
Right.
it's not the way the Electoral College has worked in the past.
Right.
This binding agreement among the states says that our electors in New York State will vote for whoever the country decides is the most popular candidate by vote.
Right.
In the past couple of years, past couple of election cycles,
Mm-hmm.
four different times, I believe it is, the person who won the popular vote did not win the Electoral College.
Right.
Right.
So this would be a way around eliminating the electoral
Correct.
college through an amendment process.
Correct.
Which is really stringent.
Yes.
Right? By coming up with this multi-state agreement that is binding,
Right.
we're able to work around the electoral college in a meaningful way that allows for that popular vote to carry whoever's elected and really enhance the voice of the people.
And we're getting
So-
closer and closer. Right now, we have enough states that have signed on to this compact that we have 207 electoral votes agreeing to vote in this matter. So we need less than, we needed 270, and we have 270, so we need 63 more.
Yeah.
And there are 7 other states, it's already passed in their legislative bodies. That just hasn't been signed by their governors, so that's in the works too. So it's not it's within reach, is what I would like to say. But that's one thing that the league is promoting. The other, of
And
course,
New York State is already
New
one
York
of them.
State has already signed on,
Of
yes.
course we are.
Proud to be a New Yorker.
Yes.
indeed.
Yes.
And then, of course, the other one is something called ranked choice voting,
Right.
which is starting to gain some momentum, and people are starting to ask, what is this thing?
As well they should.
And go ahead, please,
and
Sam.
can I offer that if you go to the Partnership for
the
Public
Public Good.
Good,
Yes.
Right, I
Buffalo,
know.
if you
Yep.
check out their website, it's actually one of their planks
Yes.
for this year. But pick it up.
It was one of the top planks.
It was.
It is,
Yeah.
I think it
was
it
the top.
I think it was the
top.
top. I think it was too.
Yep.
And they're already
Yep.
doing it in places like New York City.
Correct.
So go ahead and explain it,
Well,
Suzanne.
In ranked choice voting, I'm going to try to do it without a lot of things to look at, a lot of
Right.
visuals. Let's say there are 5 people that are interested in running for mayor We'll use the mayoral candidacy.
Sure.
Were we in that situation a few months ago?
Yes, we were.
Even more.
That's
Even
right.
more, yeah.
And they may or they may not be associated with any particular party. But these, let's say these 5 people want to vote. And
And this is for the general. This
general
isn't
election.
the primary, this is for the general.
Correct. I have 5 names on my ballot. And I don't say I only want one. I say, well, this is my number 1 choice. Well, if I can't have her, I'll take him as my second choice.
Right.
And then that one will be my 3rd choice. This one will be my 4th choice, and so on
Right.
and so forth. Then they put all those votes in. And if one person does not win 51% of the vote, they take the person who received the lowest number of number 1 votes. They take that person is now out of the running. We're down to 4 candidates. But they take that person, everyone who voted for Johnny, let's say, they look at their votes and said, okay, well, who was their second choice? And then they split those up between the remaining 4 candidates. And now all of a sudden, maybe somebody's shooting up in the numbers.
Right,
Now this one has
right.
37%, that one has 42%. And again, they go through it. If no one wins the majority, because majority rules,
Right.
then they take they take the lowest person of the 4. And they do the same thing. Okay, who was the next choice
Was
for
the
that
third,
person?
Yeah, the third.
And they go do
most
that
preferred.
until someone wins by a 51% or more majority. So that even if you don't get your first choice, your vote still counts for your second choice.
Right.
So it behooves all of us in this method of electing to understand what each of the candidates are for, so that you know that I love this one. I like that one. Oh, I could tolerate this one. I'd put up with that one, but man, if I have to, I really don't want the 5th one.
Right.
And you rank them accordingly.
Right.
Or you
And
don't even have to rank.
You don't, but when that happens, sometimes.
No. What I'm saying is, if you want to rank 4 out of the 5,
Right.
but you don't want that 5th person at all,
Right.
you don't have to list that 5th person.
That's right. And there have been times in the cities and the states who are using ranked choice voting. That has happened. A question has been, well, what if, does someone win without the majority? And there have been a couple of times, because there are people that did not vote, didn't rank all 5. So there was a little bit
Sure.
of runoff, if you will,
Right.
in that way. But this
Right.
also takes care of a lot of primary situations. And think of all the money we spend on primaries, which
Right.
right now in New York State are not open. And that's another thing we'd love to see, is open primaries, so everybody has a chance to decide who the candidates will be.
Right.
Because we don't have that. If you're an independent, you don't get to vote in the primary elections.
Right.
So you don't even get a say on who you're going
Right.
to have to
So-
elect later on.
Right. So, Sam?
Yeah, so, I think we're already starting to talk about it, but I'm just going to name it. Let's talk about our current state of democracy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're talking about a lot of money in politics.
That
We're-
was just what, that's
Voters-
just what I was going to say. When, because it is so big, the amount of money that's going in and the,
Special interests.
right.
Yep.
PACs.
Right. So go ahead. No, go ahead.
So I think, and at this point, when we're talking about money in politics,
Right.
I'm talking for myself personally. I think that the public funding of campaigns is something that's admirable, because a lot of potential for influence comes into the system when so much money is flowing.
Right.
I
and
mean,
then back to
I've lived. Listen, I may be a lawyer now, but let's just put it this way: I've lived in the streets. I've seen some stuff, and I've seen what people will do for money.
right.
And just because you are in politics doesn't mean you're immune to that.
Right.
No. Well, and the other thing is, there's back to we were just talking about misinformation, disinformation, and damn lies, and or slanting, and aspersions, and So when we see these really, oftentimes sickening, even blatantly lying advertisements
Yeah.
going out, and they're whether it's through the mail or it's on TV or everything. Facebook.
Social media.
There's so many ways.
There's so many different
social
streams
media.
now.
There's so many ways that people are influencing other people and back to it encourages. We've seen that people with money can go after somebody they want to get out.
Right.
So they just throw enough money at it, and that's through all the lying and slanted presentations, right? Or even we don't know, what else is going on. It so heavily affects elections because people don't understand or don't know, and so what they keep hearing, first of all, we know that what we've been told, that people who hear, the bigger the lie, sometimes they say the more that it's believed. But certainly that the more you say the lie over and over and over and over, and maybe people don't believe you right away, but after a while, when they've heard it over and over and over, it's like, oh, common knowledge. Everybody knows that. No, it's a lie, but you've just heard it enough times to accept it. So, so that's the thing about that, the lies in the advertising that these PACs oftentimes put out.
These PACs that, may not even disclose where the source of the money is coming from.
Right.
Well, and here's some hard facts.
You're so good for those hard facts, Suzanne.
I don't know about
That's
that.
why I wanted you to come on with me.
Yes,
You're
yes.
funny. In the 2020 presidential election, that was the priciest one up to that point in time. It cost an estimated over $10 billion. That's billion with
Just
a B.
imagine.
And of that, only 22% of contributions were $200 or less.
Wow.
So $200 billions, $10 billion, $200 donations. That's a lot of people with a lot of money. That's the super PACs. That's
Right.
Citizens United,
Right.
who doesn't necessarily, it's supposed to disclose all of its fundings, but it doesn't necessarily have to disclose those donors who are often included in those dark money groups, those
Right.
that we don't know who they
The
are,
super
where they are.
PACs or something.
Yep, and the super PACs. Yep, those are the outside groups that have taken the money and run, literally, and thrown it towards advertising in a really nasty way, which is one of the reasons why I like ranked choice voting, because the people who are engaged in it right now throughout the country, their comments are that it takes the nastiness out of the debates,
Right.
and out of the elections, because people are forced, and whatever party they're from, they're kind of forced to talk to everybody, the people they like or who like them, and the people who are against them, because they've got to win those people over.
At least
And
part way.
That's right.
Right.
And it starts to bring
Right.
us back together again,
Right.
which we are in such desperate need of doing.
Right.
And it takes, again, I'll repeat it, it just takes the nastiness out of things, and we have gotten nasty.
Oh,
and
you're not
we
kidding.
have stopped recognizing the humanity in our neighbors. And whether they're on the same side of the aisle as I am or not, they're still my neighbors, and they're human beings. And we have to interact with them in a positive way, and try to start finding common ground again, because there is common ground.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
So there you go. To defend democracy, the number one thing you can do is engage in dialogue.
Right.
Engage
Right.
in dialogue with everyone.
Right.
Not just the people that agree with you.
No. Actually,
That's
they're
right.
the ones you need to talk with the least, except for,
Sanity check?
collaborating. Well, what?
A sanity check?
Well, that helps too. We need that too. But also collaborating and working together
sure.
on different things, which is good. But the biggest thing is, we just learning from each other, or just it's the people who don't agree with you that, there's more to talk about.
And there's the opportunity to learn from each other.
Exactly.
I mean, when
That's
you go through life
what I
thinking you
just
know
said.
everything,
Yeah, no.
something ain't right.
Right.
Right? You've got to be able to meet people where they are, to be able to talk with people, to be able to learn from people. They've had different life experiences than you. You've had different life experiences than them. You have to be able to share and communicate what it is that you've been through and understand and empathize with what they've been through and somehow figure out what's good for everybody. Like you said, a real victory is one where everybody wins.
Right.
I think I'm stealing that.
Yeah, no, use it as much as you want.
will.
I offer it plentifully. No, because it came to me when I was doing, I spent a lot of time and still do, peaceful conflict resolution workshops and various activities with kids where that's one of the biggest things about it. And that's, people just don't understand cooperation. I was when I was working as a clinician, and we had different groups working with different families, kids with different mental health diagnoses. And so they thought, oh, well, we want more teamwork, so let's get everybody together and we'll have a sports day. And so all these teams are competing against each other. And I'm like, what is this? This is not that.
Right?
This is not that. And what we needed is, and of course, then I came to learn that there are so many exercises where the exercise is how do we all work together on a goal?
Right.
Not competing, but cooperating means everyone cooperating. And that's about the electoral system. Right, the way we have it now, it's not like that. But as you point out, like ranked choice voting, it sort of is. And we just experienced that, from a distance.
Yes.
That in New York City, where
Yeah.
Mamdani and I can't remember.
Well, Cuomo wanted to win.
No,
and they
not
thought he was
Adams.
going to.
No.
Yeah.
Adams.
And
And
when-
Adams, yeah.
No, but where now I'm forgetting the name. There was Mamdani and another person that they sort of campaigned together. They campaigned together and they
Yes.
said, vote for me. I'd like to be number one, but if you put me number two and put this guy number one, that's okay too. Because they agreed with each other on enough things. So that was a way of collaborating. So that's back to that where it's not like this winner take all kind of thing.
Right.
And then there are other systems. But anyway, what were you going to say?
I was just going to offer another way to defend democracy is to support our community's organizations. I'll leave it to Suzanne to tell you how you can become a League of Women Voter Buffalo Niagara member, but I'm also going to say, please come out and support the Peace Center. The annual dinner is coming. Give me the details.
Right, sure. Well, the annual dinner is November 10th, Monday. It's a Monday, which is unusual, and it's just worked out
We'll
that
make
way.
it work. We'll be with you on Monday.
Yeah, it will
And what's
be a
the
great
date,
Monday,
November?
November 10th. November 10th at the Buffalo Convention Center.
Oh, that's
And
nice. I've done it. I've been to the convention center, and you guys get like all the rooms, and there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people there.
Well, we'll see how many hundreds we get. We certainly we'll get some.
So here's the challenge
But-
to everyone who's listening. You need to go out and get a ticket so we can fill that room up.
Right. Well, here's what I want. I'm excited to tell you that we usually get a keynote speaker, and we've had some really great ones, including Amy Goodman. Pete Seeger did his last public concert
Wow.
as keynote speaker for the Western New York
Wow.
Peace Center in 2013.
Do all of our listeners
So-
know who Pete Seeger
Well,
is?
many of them will. That Pete Seeger was a folk icon, really, just a hero for the labor movement, peace movement, every kind of
Civil
peace
rights
and
movement.
justice movement, every civil rights movement, peace and justice movements of every kind, and also was about the commons. That he didn't copyright anything. He wanted people to share and like that. So, but anyway, this year.
Do we know who the
Yes, so I'm
keynote
going to
is?
tell you, we are not having a keynote.
Oh.
We're having a panel of 4 people. So we're having Craig McIver, who is nationally and internationally known, but lives here. We're lucky enough to have him living in Western New York. And he's the former chief human rights attorney for the UN. So that's Craig McIver, and he just won we gave him the Stellar Media Award last year at the annual dinner because he just deserves it so much. Very eloquent, very wonderful man, and peace, and justice activist. And Franchelle Parker, well-known executive director of Open Buffalo. She
Right.
is fantastic. Shannon Seneca is an indigenous woman, Haudenosaunee, Mohawk, and a scientist, and also with the UB Indigenous Studies program. So she's going to be on. And last but not least, Dr. Shyam Sriram is at Canisius College, and he works on refugee resettlement, political science, immigration justice. And so we're going to have a conversation, and it's on defending democracy and demanding our rights, standing up for our rights. So that is going to be very exciting. And we have special Emerging Leaders Award that's coming out too, but I
Very
won't
nice.
say who's getting that yet.
I know in this day and age, people will often express how they feel so overwhelmed by so much that's going on. There seems to be a great many things coming at us from all different directions all the time.
Right.
And it feels overwhelming. And they wonder, what can they do? Given all of this, what can we do? Well, one of the things you can do, and I don't mean to sound flippant, but join the League of Women Voters.
That's right.
And it's a very easy thing to do. You can go online to LW, V as in Victor, or V as in voter, B as in Buffalo, N as in Niagara.org. LWVBN, League of Women Voters, Buffalo, Niagara.org. That'll get you to our webpage, and you'll have a ton of stuff that you can look through. But there's
Sure.
there's a little button that says join. You can join us.
It takes
and
less
become
than 5
involved.
minutes.
It takes
less than
no
5
time at
minutes.
all to go through that process, and we would certainly welcome any and all comers. But there are more specific things too that you can do just in your own areas. One of the first things the league supports people and hopes people will start doing this. Make sure that you understand what's going on in your community. Are you involved in the school board? If you are an eligible voter, do you know who's running for school boards? That's going to come up in May, which comes really fast. I know the school year just began, but it comes faster than you can imagine. Or who's running for the city council?
Well,
Or
the
on
school
your
board, aren't they having their election in November this year?
Yeah. There's
They
been
are.
Is that the
Yes,
Yes.
they are.
the
Yes.
Buffalo School Board?
Yes, it
Buffalo
is.
School.
Well,
Yes,
but
it
we're
is.
talking about our whole area. and
Okay, but
all the other areas usually have it in May. It
well,
coincides
Buffalo
with their
has
vote.
changed it to November.
to
So
help
they're
increase
running
the voter
participation.
turnout.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for that. I guess I must have missed that somewhere along the line. But if you understand who those people are, you can get involved right in your own community, is I guess my point. And
Right,
make
or-
it a point to understand.
If you see, we're hearing so much about, redistricting's coming. We've got governors are talking about this, other governors are talking about that. Now, it's the league's position that the redistricting should happen once every 10 years.
Correct, along with
Right.
the U.S. Census, yes.
But if you see that redistricting is happening, it should be an open, transparent process.
Correct.
Go and watch them. Hold them accountable.
Right.
But you can also just have purposefully have conversations with neighbors, the ones you know and who are with you, and the ones you know who may not be with you. But open yourself up to hearing and listening to them, and let them listen to you.
Sure.
So that we can begin to find common ground. Those are two little things that you can do. Educate yourself on your local elections and talk to your neighbors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that will help us defend democracy.
Yeah.
So what about some other things that are going on that either that we want to encourage or we want to discourage in terms of what's going on with our
With the
democracy?
redistricting?
Sure. Why don't you
Yeah,
talk
so-
about that and gerrymandering
Yeah, so
too?
gerrymandering is the process of redistricting a area to dilute the power of a minority or disadvantaged or the opposing political party to benefit or favor any sort of racial group or political party, right? This can impact the shape of the districts, the fairness of the maps, and the power of the people. We've seen in the past, especially in the 50s, 60s, 70s, where the federal government had to step in to ensure that districts, the shapes of districts, were not created in a way to, dilute the votes of African Americans or Hispanics, to ensure that, communities had the representation that they're numerically entitled to. So, we want to make sure that when we are participating in the process, that we have the opportunity to hold those in the decision-making process of this redistricting. We want to hold them accountable so that they are not engaging in this dilution of, people power.
Right, which has actually definitely been happening. And in fact, it was just mentioned about our city, Buffalo, and our city Action Buffalo have worked very hard on some of the maps around here. But there's a lot been going on, and there has been certainly a huge amount of gerrymandering. And the biggest thing that it also does is it's about, so there's not competition. It's sort of like, it's about trying to eliminate that competition. And I want to go from there into, not only is there an effort to minimize fair competition, but there is an effort to disenfranchise people's votes. There's some serious things right now that, if you could give people a little snapshot on, especially to do with women and our especially married women who've taken on a husband's name and versus the married women. And
we're talking about the SAVE Act.
Absolutely.
So,
and I'd be happy to. I can give you my own personal
Please do.
issue.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Philadelphia. So my birth certificate resides in Philadelphia.
Right.
I was married in Virginia. We moved to Dallas, Texas, where I was divorced. And then I ended up moving back to New York. I had taken my then husband's name.
Right.
And kept it because I had a child and I
Right.
didn't want her to be the only person with that last name.
Right.
So the documents that I had, that my driver's license, said one thing, but it didn't say what my birth certificate said.
No, right.
So in order to get my real ID and my passport updated, actually,
Yeah.
I needed to go and get a certified copy of my birth certificate. I needed to get
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
from Philadelphia. I had to get the marriage certificate from
Dallas, Texas.
from Virginia, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay.
Right.
The divorce decree from Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And have all of that with me to prove my change of names over time.
Right.
And you had to have the capacity to do it.
I did.
You had to have the money to do it.
I did.
Right.
You had to have the time to do it.
That's right.
Right.
And
not
I was-
everyone does.
Yeah, and I was fortunate that I was able to get that stuff, or I had some of it. I did have some of it, not all of it though. But I also was fortunate that I had never been part of a natural disaster where everything in my home,
Right.
including all those important documents,
Right.
were swept away, never to be found.
Right.
So how do I now prove who I am
Right.
unless I have the wherewithal, the capacity to go to all those other places
And the resources, because
And the
that stuff
resources.
isn't free.
to make that happen? And those places, if they'd been swept away, think of poor New Orleans.
Right.
Everything was
Right.
underwater.
Right.
So how do I get
Well,
the
even
new SAVE Act, excuse me for a minute, Sam, the SAVE Act has in it clauses that are suppressing voters' rights for people of color, for women, especially for women, because of all of that. And heck, some of our politicians have come out saying that they don't think women should have the right to vote, which is kind of a fun thing to hear them say.
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
I'm
I
saying
don't
that
think
very,
yeah, right.
tongue in cheek,
Right,
obviously.
right.
But yeah, so
It might be funny if it wasn't so
So sad,
scary
yeah,
and
exactly.
sad and infuriating.
Yep.
It-
But
you know.
again, I think it goes to agency and what people have available to them. How can they? And
Right.
we are a nomadic society. Not many people stay in the same place their
Right.
whole life anymore.
Right.
They're moving and grooving, and
and based on the accents in this conversation, we've all been around the corner.
Right,
a
right.
few different ones.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I actually lived in some different places. All right, but it's so important, and that back to as we said, necessary but not sufficient, because that's one of the things I was also thinking about was what you were mentioning about when you vote. By a lot of times, by that time, it's really too late, because your choices are very limited. So that's why getting involved early on is so
Right.
important. But anyway, what were you going to say?
We're getting down to
I
the
know
last
we are.
few minutes.
Right.
Yeah, so
I
this is
do-
going to be.
I do want to just raise up that we need to work together to protect absentee voting.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Especially
Mail-in voting.
And
mail-in voting.
Mailing voting.
As we are in a post-COVID world. Lord knows what's around the corner next.
Right.
If our society is going to have to shut down because a new wave of whatever comes through,
Right.
we need to have the mail-in ballot protected, early voting protected. It allows access to people to fit participation in government into their lives. And the registration of new Americans is something that needs to be protected. League of Women Voters, we are very engaged in
Naturalization ceremonies.
naturalization
Right.
ceremonies, which has recently been the target of executive
Order. Yeah.
order and the limitation of civic groups that are nonpartisan like us, who have a century of proof that we are nonpartisan.
Yes.
To say that we can't go in and make it easy for our new American neighbors to participate in our community, that just doesn't make sense.
And
Well,
as you were
it's a-
talking about mail-in voting, think about my 93-year-old mother, who was very cognizant, knows exactly what's going on, but her body has shut down. There is no way this woman can physically present herself at a voting booth.
Right.
It's impossible. And yet she has voted every day of her life since she got the vote.
Right.
Amen.
And yet these kind of executive orders or provisions in the SAVE Act, if it were to pass the Senate, would limit her ability. She would not be allowed to vote because they would get rid of the mail-in voting. And
So we need.
you
So
know.
we need to defend the SAVE Act. That's one thing.
No. We don't want to
I
defend.
mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Yes.
No, it was. What was the one that you were saying that
We
need
cannot
to-
be quiet. We need to oppose this.
Yes.
We need to oppose this
Loud
the
and
SAVE
clear.
Act loud and
Yes.
clear, because it's an example. That's what I meant.
It's
to say.
voter suppression.
It's voter suppression, and it's an example of the
Overreach.
1984 symptoms of calling things what they're not.
Right.
You know, so calling it the save, it's not saving anything unless
No.
it's saving the people who don't want the other people to vote. So
Right.
there are people who do want to suppress the vote. This has been, this is not something new in our democracy. But anyway, I want to say, there is so much to this subject. I mean, we could go on, and we will another time for sure, because there is so much that we haven't gotten to about what we need and what we also don't need. That's what I was going to say. There's so much that's happening that is really about gerrymandering, suppressing the vote, lying to the voters, misrepresenting, and just making it too hard for people.
But the
Making
good
it-
news is that we have plenty of organizations in our Western New York area that people can reach out to. They
Right.
can reach out to the Western New York Peace Center, League of Women Voters, Participation for the Public Good. You know, there are a
Right.
lot of places to go.
Partnership for the Public
Partnership,
Good.
I
Yep.
apologize.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
all right. And certainly, I mean, there is so much to do. So thank you for all that you do. We appreciate the League of Women Voters so much. I encourage people to go to your website. I know I didn't mention when, that I did say that the tickets are on sale, I think as of tonight, for the Western New York Peace Center annual dinner. But the way to get them is just go to WNYPeace.org. You can order your tickets. You could put an ad in the journal. Another way of, promoting your organizations. But anyway, we're in a critical point where, our democracy is at grave risk. We talked a little bit about some of those, but I'm so glad to have you both here.
Thank you
We
for having
appreciate
us.
you so much. We'll have another session like this because there's more dangers and we know what they are, and also to get some pointers on the progress of how we're going to keep our democracy and make it more of a democracy, get people more involved, make it easier to get involved. And certainly you both are doing that. So we're so grateful. And all I can say is, this is Talking Peace. And together we've been talking peace in truth and love.